What's up? This is Jordan Gray from Half Lit and DopelivenTV.
Hey, this your boy Don Ritchie representing the Midwest 219 Stand Up.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Lamar Tate.
This is your girl, Monifa.
Hey, what up? It's your man Dave Hollister from Blackstreet.
You know what this is right here. This Trigger Trench in the building.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is your boy Jason Weaver. And whenever I'm back home in the Chi, I'm checking out Dope Living TV.
Hey, it's your girl, Adina Howard, and you're watching Dope Living TV, live with Greg Gray and the crew.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy Greg Gray. This is Dope Living TV Live. Let me start off by saying the views that are expressed on this Dope Living TV Live are not necessarily the views of Dope Living TV or its affiliates. Let's get this thing started, man. Let's get it started.
Yes, let's get it started now.
Gotta get it done. So last week we're talking about the presidential candidates. We wanted to have an open, like a town hall meeting, a little discussion about, why are people voting the way that they vote? Who is your, not necessarily who your candidate is, but what are the issues that are important to you with this upcoming election? They say this is the election that we really, really, really need to be concerned about. So, how do you feel about that, Jenny?
Well, they all are elections that we need to be concerned about. Yeah, all of them are. But this is, I think, is important to a lot of people because of the way they feel, of a lot of issues that they are for or against. Yeah. And so, I don't know. It's a lot with this election. It's a lot going on.
That's okay. The thing is that we got to be able to discuss it peacefully, intelligently, respectfully, and just hear everybody out, because at the end of the day, we just want to come across. We want, number one, to make sure that everybody is going out there to vote. All right, you vote your choice. That's who whomever you want to vote for. That's your choice. All right, but make sure it's a smart choice. And with the people that we have on tonight, they're going to give you all sides. We're going to have all sides. Okay, what's up, Mo?
Hey, what's happening? I think the biggest thing is that we need to educate ourselves, on our candidates. And usually that helps the situation when you educate yourself. And there's some barriers in this particular election as far as truths are concerned and the way people drawing the truths out. But I think if you dig it deeper and not be as superficial, with the person, you'll find the truth out. I think that's the biggest thing. Just like anything in your life, you got to, vet it, qualify it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, for sure. I say let's get it in there, man. First up, we got my man Vince. Okay, he had some problems last week with his audio. Gina said he's straight now. What's going on, Vince?
He's straight now.
Oh, you hear me now?
Hey, Vince.
We can hear you, Vince.
Can you hear me now?
Yay!
Gina, get Danny, man. Tell her come on. She's late. Let's get my man Mark on.
I didn't hear back from her yet.
Mark.
All right, Mark. My
Hey,
guy.
Mark. Yes.
And my guy, this guy's never. He has his opinion, and I respect him to the utmost, man. My man Juan. What's going on, Juan?
What's up, everybody?
Juan back again.
Yes, sir. He's back.
I'm back. I had a lot of fun last week. I'm ready to get going again.
Which is what we're going to do. So right off the bat, man, I wanted to, Jen and I were talking earlier, man, but I wanted to talk about, first of all, and get this off the table, immigration. Everybody has their ideas about immigration. What do you guys think? Juan, what do you think about immigration? And as pertaining to the candidates and the election that's coming up?
Well, you got two different views as far as immigration. On one side, this current administration, um, they're just letting everybody in. There's no really legal process. They're just kind of getting as many people. In my opinion, in my truthful opinion, I feel like they're getting a lot of people from different countries with the hope they're giving them money, they're giving them shelter, they're giving them clothing in return that they want them to vote Democrat. Now, like I said, that's my honest opinion, but that's the way 100% truthfully how I feel. You got a lot of, I believe the last number I read was 20 million people have entered the United States since this administration took over. And
Wow.
that was more of 3 states' population combined. So you think about that. If they're in these swing states, those swing states can pretty much swing one way. If they were pretty much almost like bribed, hey, come here, we're going to let you come in. Everybody wants to come to the United States because it still is the greatest country in the world. That's why everybody wants to come here. But you can't just let anybody in here. I mean, I've said it last week. You have to be careful. My dad always said, watch who you let in your home. This is all our homes as Americans. You just can't let just anybody in. Now, that's for this administration. Trump, on the other hand, he wants to slow down the migrants. Like I said, he heard it. He went to the border. He heard from the Border Patrol agents. They're letting people in, and we just kind of lose track of them. And that's adults, that's children, that's women. So he wants to put a clamp on it. He did while he was in office. So I feel like we need to go in a legal aspect to be able to come up with a solution to where, yes, some people do want to come here and combine with our culture, but you got some people that don't, that they're, like I said, they are murderers. There are people here that do not belong here, that have
Okay.
already caused crimes. That's the way I feel. Thank you.
Okay. You feel the same way, Mark?
Pretty much. Now, I am the grandchild of immigrants. I'm the child of immigrants. So I'm not against immigration. What I am against is illegal immigration. There is a way to do it, and they don't follow the way to do it. Not come sneak across the border, or run across the border, or charge across the border, whatever you want to call it. There's a way to immigrate into the United States, and that's the way it should be followed.
But people are saying that we're letting them in. You know, we're just allowing them. We're opening the door and saying, "Come on in, come on in." What do you say about that?
That's exactly what we're doing, and I think that's wrong.
No, that's not true. That is not true. I wish it were, but it's not. The biggest thing about this immigration deal is that, first of all, there's some people stopping bills and things from being passed that will allow us to do what we need to do as far as the board is concerned. That's been happening for the past year. They shut that down. They shut a couple of other things down to keep immigration in check. But it's all a political football. And, you know, this dude's done took it and ran with it as far as I'm concerned. You know, and we can't really blame this whole thing on Biden and Harris. You just can't. You cannot, because they don't have any control of that border other than getting orders and getting, you know, laws changed to change those ways of getting into the country. If they can't change it, if they got people in Congress that will not allow them to pass those laws, guess what? It ain't gonna happen. And right now you got people that are choking off laws and stuff like that won't allow us to do what we need to do at the border.
Trump did it all with executive orders, and Biden undid all those executive orders the first day he was in office. Remember, they had a stack about this high. We're undoing all Trump's
all of them do.
orders. The border was pretty much closed when Trump was president. Biden opened it up.
I find it harder to believe that the commander-in-chief, the most powerful person in the world, cannot stop the flow of immigration into our country.
I mean,
like my man said.
I do too.
Trump did it. Trump did it.
No, he did not. That's not true.
Okay, you compare 20 million across to maybe 1 million?
No, that's not even close. That's not true.
I would like to chime in. I would like to chime in because I remember back when Trump had control of the border, he separated children from their families. Those people were in cages like they were animals, and they are human beings just like we are. I know you're saying, Juan, that they're letting in all kind of criminals. We already have all kind of criminals here already, and not everyone. You can't put that label. You can't put the label on everyone. You cannot do that.
Everyone. I didn't say everyone. I said some. I said there are some. Now, the pictures that you're talking about, the pictures in cages, that was actually during Obama and Biden's era. They are postmarked with the dates
So
of Obama.
you just said that he did with one stroke and did all this magnificent stuff. He could have done that as well. He could have done that as well, and he didn't.
We had immigration problem. We've always had immigration problems here in the U.S. It's
and we're
nothing
continue
new.
to have them until we find a good way of getting in.
It's like my man. Oh, go ahead.
Real quick, Vince. You haven't said anything about it. How do you feel about that?
Well, now I was just going to reiterate what Mark said. I mean, I think the numbers show that it was 1.4 million during the Trump administration, and now it's 15 to 20 million. Who knows how much? If the Trump had to stay in Mexico policy,
Title 21.
All Biden had to do was nothing, and the border would have remained relatively secure. But he took away the stay in Mexico policy, and so allowed a flood of immigrants. And
like I said, I believe it was called Title 21. If I'm correct, Title 21 was where they had to stay in Mexico for their hearing.
The other thing, I mean, one of the things we're trying to do here is get everybody to go out and vote, because we as Americans want to be able to make our own decisions. People have fought and died for the right for us to vote.
That's right.
And
I agree with
Vince.
Vince.
To them, I think. Okay, we have but when we allow people to come into our country without being vetted, we're letting other countries make our decisions for us.
And that's the thing.
Make our decisions for ourselves, and that is when a person comes in the country, we make the decision, not some other country makes the decision as to who. That's the only thing I wanted to add. What Mark and
he wants to come in and ship all the immigrants out. He wants to come in and have ICE to come in and knock on people, knock down people's doors, go to their jobs, go to their schools, and ship them away from here. He wants to make it where you can't become a citizen by marrying, which is what he's done. I don't understand why there's a problem with, people coming here, getting married, leading decent lives. When where did his wife come from? She was an immigrant,
right? I mean, I get what
Dan. Sound double standard to me.
I get what Juan, Mark, and Vincent are saying. She came in the legal way. And I agree with all three of you. There should be a legal way for this to happen. But we're going to throw this football back and forth all night long, because we're going to agree to disagree on a lot of stuff as far as immigration is concerned. I mean, if you really, really want to cut it down to what it means, what we need to do is say, who's qualified for the job? Who has the degrees? Who has the stuff to do the job? That when you say that right there alone, there's hands down, there's no competition.
How about we start with criminals? Get the criminals out of here. They don't belong here.
Well,
is there any opposition to that?
What, as far as getting criminals concerned?
Yeah.
Because
there are a lot of gang members.
Yes. Well, I mean, I never had no problem with putting people away to do crimes. Never in my life.
I know Congress just tried passing a vote, and it got denied because Democrats voted against it. If any illegal immigrant was to commit a crime or a sex crime, they would get deported immediately, and that was voted down from Democrats. That was just recently, within the last 3 weeks.
I'm pretty much on. I have not heard that one. I need to see.
There's a lot. See, there's some. This is why I said last time, you will not hear certain things from mainstream media. We all know that the news is scripted, right? They tell us what they want to tell us. They won't tell us everything. We have to do it ourselves. We have to follow individual journalists, people that are not from this side or that side, that are right down the middle, that just want to present facts. There are out there. Ben Swan is one of them. He is an independent journalist.
The truth is this: if you, me, Gina, or Greg went up to say, I want to be an engineer, you got to go to school for it. You got to know what the hell you're doing. And that's what I'm saying. As far as this job's concerned, you got to know what you're doing.
I like
We
the
don't know what
fact
he's
that
doing.
Maurice is bringing up, because there's a lot of issues such as immigration, abortion, and all that
We're
we
gonna
can
agree to disagree on
disagree
that
on
all night
because
long.
everybody has different opinions.
Right.
But I agree with him where he's saying, where's the qualifications?
Right.
Look
was
at the
not qualified.
qualifications. Who is the most qualified person? Who has the credentials to sit in that seat?
That's right.
And I would like to open that up for, let's start with Vince on that issue.
When people talk about credentials, I'm always reminded of an attorney that I knew who'd been practicing for about 30 years and was a terrible lawyer. And I remember one time I overheard him talking to a client of his, and he was having some kind of an argument. He says, I've been doing this for 30 years. And I'm thinking to myself, I didn't say anything. None of my business. Yeah, man, you've been doing it for 30 years. You've been doing it wrong for 30 years. Just because a person has the paper qualifications doesn't necessarily mean he can do that.
I agree with you 110%. But with qualification comes action. You
got to have the ground. You have to be able to get the job done. And we all know people who have got the qualifications, who have got degrees, and you see on TV all these experts, and most of these guys don't know anything more than any of us.
I agree with you.
To be
I
honest,
agree with you, but there's proof. There's proof of a job well done.
Some of these guys just don't have it. And they're the expert here on television.
I mean, there's proof, is what I'm saying. There's proof.
You have to have judgment.
That's true. That is very true.
So there's a question Dan Fishman is asking. He asked the question. So you're telling me Venezuelans are okay, but their own country doesn't want them back?
Wow.
Hey,
we want to jump on that one?
Not at all.
I'm just saying, like I said, for the most part, I can say I agree to disagree. I mean, we have to do something about the immigration, but we have to do it not talking about walking up to people's houses and dragging them out, and that's archaic, and that's really, really classless. I mean, we've got to do something about it.
Let's make it make sense though, Mo, because and everybody has a great point, but think about this, all right? We're hearing, because we don't know exactly what's going on. We don't know exactly who's doing what, and who's telling the truth, and this and that. We're hearing this on the news, and we have no choice but to believe what the news is telling us, okay? But is that always the correct information that we're getting? Just like, for example, with the hurricane that just happened. They're saying two different versions of what happened with the candidates going out or not going out. All right. One says nobody went out there to check. Another person says that, they went out there and they were steadfast with this. Okay. But we don't know who did what. Go ahead, Mo.
Again, what they got to do with the job of president of the United States. I mean,
show support.
I think to me, I think it's more mudslinging than anything.
No. You gotta show up for your people as Americans.
They have. It's just that he got there first, and if he got there first, then they ain't showing up. It's just like they said they wasn't doing nothing, which they are. It's really ridiculous how much mud is being slung by this dude. And like I said,
what do they say as far as a father? 80%. All you got to do is just show up, right? So how is it that they couldn't just show up? And it doesn't matter who got there first. It's just, to me, now, like I said, my opinion, I don't know about everybody else.
They've been there. They've been on the ground, just like Trump has. The thing about it is that turning into a political football, which is something that's not really needed. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Why in the hell would you just throw mud just because you don't have anything else to talk about?
Because that's the Democrat way. So it's almost like fighting fire with fire.
That was not thrown by the Democrat. That was Trump's people.
I mean, let's keep it real. I mean, let's keep it 100.
That's Trump people.
Hey.
But why is it? This is a question from last time. Why is this was from Kevin Murphy? Why are people holding Vice President Harris to one standard and Trump to a lesser standard? That's a good point he was making.
Okay.
She was never president.
No.
So that's a good point. Why? I feel that people are turning a blind eye to what he's done.
Yep.
A lot of what he's done. Why is it he can break the law and everybody stand
Right. How
behind
can he
him?
be a felon? Because if I'm a felon, I can't. The thing about it, the people, the very people that cannot vote in some states, he's one of them, and he's running for the
Vince,
highest
you're an
office
attorney.
in
I
the
would
land.
love to hear your take on that.
Well, first of all, I mean, you take these 4 charges that Trump had. The one in Georgia is just falling apart. I mean, that was silly to begin with. You know,
You talking about where he called up for the votes?
Fonnie Willis, and whose father I know, by the way. Father's a real nice guy. I like him. But I mean, that was
The one where he called up for the votes, Vincent?
that was just. I mean, I don't know what crime he committed there. In New York, they don't know what crime he committed.
So
what crime did he get convicted of? I still don't understand that.
So
That's a
you're saying
victimless
he has
crime.
not
There was no
committed any
crime.
crimes?
There was what crime was it? Nobody knows.
Nobody can answer that question.
Yeah, nobody.
one?
They don't know what
Didn't they-
happened.
So you don't think January 6th was a crime?
They what?
You don't
That-
feel that January 6th was a crime?
Well, he wasn't.
That Trump did? That Trump did, or the
Trump
people that
incited a
that
riot.
went into
That he
Capitol?
incited that riot?
Yeah.
Boy,
I
you guys
just-
missed
He
that
was not
video where he
convicted of
said to
inciting
go
a riot on
peacefully.
January 6th. There's been no conviction of that.
No.
What he was convicted of in New York, and Vince, correct me if I'm wrong, please. They took several different charges, all of which were misdemeanors. They compounded, and a lot of which were past the statute of limitations. They put them together, made magic with them, and all of a sudden they became felonies, and they convicted him of that.
Wow.
So we're saying that, and I didn't mean to disrupt him like that, get him off like that. But we're saying that Trump. Now we heard the speech that he gave before all of that happened. All right.
Yes.
So you guys are saying that Trump did not tell these guys, we got to do something.
fight.
Go up there. You're saying that Trump did not tell them to make sure you get the vice president, because he could have stopped all of this. I mean,
Right.
There's some things that can't be refuted.
Okay, what happened on January 6th was absolutely wrong. Don't misunderstand me.
I'm glad you said that.
I called my wife down to watch it. I was watching it myself. I called her downstairs. I said, "You got to come see this." And I only had a couple other words that I described those people with, because it's not
But
not
you
very
know,
nice language, all right?
a lot of them people didn't know what they were doing.
A lot of
Let
people
him
are
finish,
bunch
Mo. I want to hear what he has to
of damn
say.
fools, if you ask me. Okay, but the question was not what they did. The question is, did Trump tell them to do it? Okay, that's what the question comes down to.
And your assessment of that is what?
Yeah, he said to march to the Capitol. He did say that, because I watched the speech too. He said march to the Capitol. He said protest, but he also said peacefully and patriotically. Now, that's what he said. Now, should he have known better? Probably. But did he actually tell them to go and invade the Capitol like they did? I didn't hear it.
And he has a point, though.
Okay.
You do have a point, Mark. You absolutely. I mean, he did say, listening to the speech, he said, "Go down there peacefully." But what about the fact that they called him and said, "Hey, man, you got to stop this," and he did not do that in a timely fashion?
He should have. He should have. I'll grant that.
Well, you also got to go back. He requested that the National Guard should have been brought up. This was on Pelosi. It's actually came out in a document.
That was
said
on Pelosi.
He requested that, hey, maybe you should bring the National Guard, and they refused it. I believe it was the mayor of DC and the police chief of DC said no, they didn't want to do it. Why?
That's on Pelosi.
If they would have been there, if the soldiers would have been there, would that have happened? Probably not.
Probably
So
not,
it's better
what it was, I
be
think,
prepared than unprepared.
what it was with on Pelosi's side, she didn't like the image that it would have presented. Them counting the electoral votes and certifying the electoral votes behind army bayonets, if you will. Okay, you see what I'm saying? They wouldn't like the way that looked. Now, I'm not saying Pelosi was right, but I think that was her thinking. They wouldn't like the way it looked. They didn't believe that these people were going to go down and try and break into the Capitol like they did. Now,
Okay.
I saw them on Facebook and various other media.
We had a bunch in
trying to get
Tennessee.
them to
Yeah.
come to Washington and attend this thing. And my wife said she was going to go. I said, no, you're not. I'm not going to this.
Wow.
Man.
Because I know what's going to I can tell. I got a pretty fair guess what's going to happen. You're not going to be part of it. You stand right here.
But why was there a need to stop what the people had done? They voted in Biden. Why was there a need for people to feel like I need to go and stop this?
Because it looked on election night. I'm not saying it was, but it looked like
it was stolen.
Dishonest.
I'm
not saying the count was dishonest.
No.
It looked like it was dishonest.
You know,
But there are
when they
things in
stop
place.
counting votes, at 2 a.m. and then there's a big jump in Biden's favor in every swing state.
Because
But they verified those votes multiple times.
Yeah, they were counting
Three
with the doors
times.
locked. Yeah.
Three
The
times.
problem that people have with the election, is Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania conducted an illegal election. There's no question about that.
You did what?
It wouldn't have made a difference if Pennsylvania had gone the other way. It wouldn't have made a difference. But people look at that and they say, yeah, Pennsylvania, they should not have conducted the election that way. It was in violation of the Constitution what they did. And so they know that. That's a fact. That's not in dispute. And then they start thinking, well, maybe there's some other stuff too, you know. Pennsylvania would have made a difference, but Pennsylvania in conjunction with something else would have made a difference. So that's where if Pennsylvania hadn't done what they did, you know, in Pennsylvania, even if Pennsylvania had gone Republican, you wouldn't have had these doubts about the validity of the election, you know, so you start looking for other irregularities. That's what people do.
Well, you got to remember
it wasn't
too, in
just
Georgia,
Pennsylvania, Vince. He went to Georgia. He went to Vegas, Nevada. So it
supposedly
wasn't
a
just
pipe burst.
Pennsylvania.
Supposedly a pipe burst in an arena where they stopped the counts. I mean, there was many factors that were going on.
All of you still believe that the election was stolen.
No,
100%. 100%. 100%. Like I said, we all have our own opinions.
That is, hey, I respect it 110%, bro. I mean, if that's what you believe, that's what you believe. But
I do not believe that. I want to make that clear.
I'm talking.
What I said was, I said it looked like the election might have been stolen. I didn't say it was, but it looked that way on the TV. When all of a sudden they've been counting a lot of these swing states, and Trump's ahead, and Trump's ahead, and Trump's ahead. And then boom, next morning, all of a sudden, Biden's ahead by a whole bunch of votes.
Yep.
It looked like it was stolen. I don't think it was. I've yet to see any credible evidence that it was.
Hey, Mark, it's okay to say it, Mark. It's okay to say
it. But that's, you know, that's kind of inside baseball, if you will. But and even then, Pennsylvania would have been enough electoral votes to make a difference if it did switch. So I don't think the election was stolen.
In the course of these past 4 years,
victory was legitimate. But
they have changed legislation so that this won't happen again. They have made changes in legislation to prevent there to even be just a little pinch that it might
I don't
be
agree
stolen.
with those changes, Juan. Those changes basically are redlining. I mean, they have put in place.
It's a lot of things.
Places where when you go out to vote, no one. If you're standing in line for 3 or 4 hours to vote, no one can come bring you water or food or
true.
any of that.
Not true. But they said.
There's some states that say it depends on the state.
Election change in Georgia. They didn't say no one can bring you water. What they said was campaign workers who were identified as campaign workers by their T-shirts or something, they can't. Someone else could. If I go out there, I got a New York Mets shirt on. If I go out there with a New York Mets shirt, I can bring you water. But if I have a shirt that says Trump Vance or Harris Walls, then I can't. That's the difference.
I believe California has made it illegal now to ask for ID before you vote. Now, here in this panel disagrees with that. Who thinks it's okay to vote without an ID? I would like to know that. Who disagrees with that, or who agrees with that?
You know what's so crazy about that? That right there, that law right there is at the beginning when we voted, we didn't need any of that. You needed your name and a signature. That was it. You know.
In every modern country in the world, you need an ID to vote.
Well, I mean, in
Why?
Tennessee, that's been the way it's been in Tennessee forever. That's you have to have an ID. You know, not just a voter registration card.
But we need an ID for everything else, to get a license, to board a
That
plane,
is
to go
so
to the
true, bro.
bank.
I'm
But
not saying
why is it that some states feel it's
because it's in
okay
our
that
Constitution. It's our constitutional right.
All right, let me switch up a little bit, man. Okay, don't go nowhere, Juan. He just cut off. Affordable housing. All right, which is a topic that they brought up, and I'm reading something here. Half of all U.S. homes on the market were considered affordable using the standard 30% of salary ratio by 2023, and that number plummeted to 16%. And the picture is even worse for people that rent. A quarter of them are spending more than 50% of their income on rent. What do you all think about affordable housing and how these candidates can attack that, can help?
You know, that's going to be something else right there. I honestly don't know what's going to change that. I really don't know what's going to change that because greed has got in there, and once greed is in there, it's kind of hard to pull greed out of that. You know, period. Housing is crazy here. I mean, you can't get into a 3-bedroom $700,000 where I'm staying at. So it's ridiculous. Everybody showed up here at one time, and the housing went straight through the roof. So
the high interest rates are part of it.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Interest rates are high, and that's part of the reason why people can't afford things. The mortgage rates are high. Another problem is, and if you talk to any builder or any carpenter, they'll tell you, or if you've been to a lumberyard lately,
material, yeah,
particularly lumber, wood, has gone through the roof, and that really increases the cost of construction.
So has any candidate addressed this, though? Has any candidate truly addressed it to your satisfaction? No. Because the thing about it is business is business. Unless the businesses wake up and they're getting hurt on their bottom line somewhere, that's the only way that's going to change. You know,
but it is the materials, and a lot of it is, nowadays if you buy a house, you build a house. It's not like the old days where you just there's all kinds of regulations, expenses, licenses, and all that adds to the cost of the building.
That's right.
If you as far as rents go, there are more and more. Like the county where I live in, they just installed a rent control regime where basically landlords have to raise the rent every year. Otherwise, you can't just. They put a 6% cap on it, but you can't don't raise the rent at all one year and then raise it more than 6% the next year. You have to raise it every year, and
so gradually.
And just to keep up, because if you don't take your 6% this year, you can't make it back next year.
Can't get 12% next year.
Yeah, and that keeps the cost of housing very high too. Plus the taxes, like the county I live in, they just raised the property taxes 10%, and that's a big factor in the rents, what the rents are. So. I mean, they can do more. I think the elected officials, it's more on the state and local level. They can do more to make things affordable, but they just.
Well, you know what? To Vince's point, everything is expensive, but you have to think about what caused it to be. It was not Kamala that caused it to be the prices to go up. It wasn't Biden. It was the shutdown of the pandemic. And when everything opened back up, what were we told? Oh, we have to raise prices to make up for lost money. But guess what? They never lowered those prices. They continue to keep those prices up there. Yeah, we may have needed to raise the prices to get back to where we needed to be. But somebody said it's greed. The greed prevented all these different companies to go back to a decent living for the people. And my honesty, I don't feel like that politics is for the people on any side. It's no longer for the people. That has gone out the window years ago. That's just my opinion.
So
Energy
here's
prices, another reason why.
Yeah, I'll get ready to say energy is a catalyst. If you think historically, energy has always been a catalyst for inflation. If you think about it, if it costs more to move those goods because of a truck, fuel went up, twice what it was before, and it's going to be a cost that runs downhill. That runs right to the consumer. So
let me read this comment real quick, Mo. Purvis says we're about to make America great again. 4 years have passed. If he loses this one, it's time to go away. America is who she is. It's a simple process. You vote for the one that's going to benefit you. Republicans, individuals, Democrats, everyone. You vote on what's good for you. Win or lose, you move on.
That's right.
And we call it the United
May
States.
the best man or woman win.
Yeah. We're called
that's
the United
the question,
States.
though, Gina. Who is the best man or woman? All right. Who do we know? Me. I haven't heard. I haven't heard the things that I really want to hear. You get Trump. Trump is always being defensive. He's always trying to talk about the people and this and that. Okay. Kamala Harris is always trying to be deflective. All right. She's not answering a lot of questions that people are asking her, and she gets a little angry. How do we mitigate all of this?
Well, it's funny because I just saw an interview on 60 Minutes that she just did, and for the first time ever, the person that did the interview didn't let her deflect. She kept trying to deflect, and he said, "No, how are you going to do it, Madam Vice President?" And that's when she started choking over her words. She didn't know what to say because for the longest time, we all know that the mainstream media is an arm for the Democratic Party. They've always defended it. That's why when Trump was in, you heard every bad thing about him. You never heard any good. These last 4 years, you never heard nothing bad. You didn't hear nothing bad about this administration. Meanwhile, we're all struggling. We're all struggling. I'm a father of 3. I'm married. I have a great job, but guess what? These high prices are still getting to me. It's high.
Juan, you're not.
Yeah, but Juan, I go back to what Purvis said. You're gonna vote for who's best for your household. The 4 years that Trump was in office, why was I paying $6,000 a year in taxes and he was paying $100 and something?
Right.
I was middle class, and the blunt of what was going on in the world stood on the middle class shoulders. I didn't get a stimulus check. I made too much money. I didn't get tax cuts. I made too much money. I didn't get cuts on the real estate that I own. I made too much money. I got nothing from Trump in the 4 years that he was there.
I hear you. I hear all of that.
Gina, I wish I made as much money as you did then.
You must make some great money, Tina, because I make great money and I still got a check.
I made 6 figures. I'm gonna be honest. I made 6 figures. And what was the cutoff for the stimulus check? 75, something like that, 75,000.
It was 200.
I made 6 figures, and because I made 6 figures, I had to carry the weight of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you weren't the only one. I was there too.
So, and it goes back to what Purvis said. You're gonna vote for whoever is best for your household. But even with that, people need to go out and research both candidates to see, is this best for your household? It's so many people I've spoken with that have spoken to me about, I'm voting for, Trump because I got a stimulus check.
Right.
I'm voting for Kamala because she's Black.
Right.
Those are not reasons to vote for either one of them.
Not at all.
Who could do the damn job? That's what you vote for. So I got to do the job.
The identity politics need to just go out the window. That's one of the worst things that we can do is just vote for somebody just because they're Black, vote for somebody because they're Hispanic, vote for somebody because just they're white. We need to get rid of that, but we see a lot of that.
Yeah, we do.
Like I said, let's keep we do, and that's like voting for your demise. It's like it could be a wolf in sheep's clothing. You know what I
Yep.
mean? It's just you don't know what you're gonna get. You're voting just based on color. You can't do that.
Sound like a gang thing, don't it?
Hey, I've been there too. I've been there too.
So that's what they did when Obama came in. They voted Obama. Let's keep it 100 because he was black. They wanted to see something
100.
different. They wanted to see something different, right? I mean, Gina, Mo, y'all agree, right?
Well, that's
Everybody
not why I
wanted to see
voted
it.
for him.
That's not why
That
you
wasn't
But
the
I-
reason I voted for him.
because you're
I did
black.
too.
That wasn't the reason I voted for
No,
him.
me neither.
I voted because I look at the policies. I voted because of the policies that he had. I was all for the medical plan that the
Affordable
Obamacare.
Care Act.
It was if it wasn't for the Affordable Care Act, my daughter would be dead today. She didn't have insurance. She wasn't working. She was in college. She had no medical insurance, and if that wasn't available to her, she would be dead today.
So let's
But
talk
there's two
about that.
sides to it. There's two sides to it because my mom couldn't afford health insurance, and every year come tax time, she got hit with the penalty, and I thought that was terrible, terrible. She could not afford it, but because
All of
she
it
couldn't
needs to
afford
be.
it, it was a penalty, and she had to pay come tax time.
All
So
of it.
So there's always
all of it.
two sides.
Right, it is two sides, and a lot of a thing about the Affordable Care Act, it needed adjustment, just like any, act that they put out there, and it never got the chance to get adjusted. I mean, it is right now. Trump tried to kill it, but 15, 20, 30 times. He tried to
Well,
kill it.
he eliminated the penalty, so
Well, yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people
Well,
are
he
grateful
wanted
for
to
that.
get rid of it, but he had
That's
nothing
true.
in
That needs to
place.
go away. I agree with that, eliminating the penalty, because, I mean, what Obama was trying to do is base it like we do on car insurance. If you don't have car insurance and you get pulled over, you ain't got it, you're gonna get hit with some kind of fee, fine, or something. And you can't do that with health care. You just couldn't do it.
So I mean, so that was that in your opinion, the Obamacare healthcare plan was a good thing. So why would Trump want to take it away? I mean, was it because he just wanted to sweep that whole administration under the table?
But you know what is the funny part about that is that medical care was available already. It wasn't until they called it Obamacare that it
Yeah.
became such a big issue.
It was there, and it just need to be signed and put in action. That was it. Period.
Was
And-
it good though?
I don't know. I mean, I got private insurance. I don't know. From what
Again,
I understand,
like I said,
a lot
yes,
of people that don't have
for individual. Maybe Juan would say not for his mom, but I would say yes for my daughter.
Right.
So again, as he said, it's two sides to everything. His mom may have not felt like that was something that benefited her, but I felt like it benefited my daughter because it saved her life.
I mean, I have a whole bunch of other bones to pick with Mr. Trump. I mean, from his history of discrimination and not allowing African Americans to stay in his building. It's a bunch of things that are back there on this side that would make it stupid. I would look real crazy voting for a man that wouldn't allow me to sleep or rent one of his buildings. That would just
He let Jennifer Hudson sleep in his building for free when her family got murdered.
Jennifer
I'm talking
Hudson.
about back then, not
From Chicago.
I'm not
Or
talking
you talking? He also sued a golf
about
course
New York.
in
He got
Florida
sued.
that
He got sued.
didn't allow blacks or Jews to be a part of the club. He also sued for that too.
He got sued.
You got to remember, Trump
sued.
was loved back then. Oprah, The View. He financed.
Those are not
Jackson's
ordinary
presidential
people like
campaign.
us, Juan. Those are not ordinary people like us.
I mean,
But
we're
he does have a
minorities,
point,
right?
Gina.
We're not minorities? Are we now? Are we
Those are
distancing
not
ourselves
ordinary
from them?
people. Like there's a lot of doors that will open for them because of their status. Those
He
same
got
doors
an
will not
award
open
from
for us.
he got an award from the NAACP. I mean,
remember
dude was loved. Dude was loved.
Yeah.
And once he
Well,
came out
until
as a
He
Republican,
was the same. He was
that's
the
when he got
same
attacked.
person who rode
mean-
through Chicago and said that they lived in a dump, that they were low class, and they were what did he call them?
Beneath them.
Yeah, that was the same person.
Again,
Chicago is a dump. politically, and I mean, let's just keep it real.
Damn, what?
No. You see, I live in Indiana. I will not take my family to Chicago because I don't feel safe. It's not safe over there.
Hey, Juan, you know what happens?
Like I said, I keep it real, man.
Put the thumb up. Put the thumb up.
I didn't even see it.
That's on your phone. That's new on the iPhone.
We gotta go to Chicago next week.
There you go. Watch
I
that.
don't.
Watch it.
You know what?
Yeah. Thumbs up.
Chicago is just like any other place. There are good neighborhoods. There are bad neighborhoods. That's everywhere you go. Every state you go in. So you can't classify Chicago as a whole as a terrible place because
I never
live
heard
in
him say
Indiana
that.
too.
I actually never
too.
heard him say that.
Oh yeah,
You know,
he did
oh
say
yeah,
it.
he called it a cesspool, but anyway, a shithole is what he called it. Anyway, he's my whole thing about this deal with Trump is that I can't consciously vote for this guy because I know what he represents. Okay, as far as people of color are concerned, I know exactly what he represents, and guess what? If he tell you he's a snake, you damn better believe he's a snake. You know.
Okay, but Mo, saying that, can you said you can't consciously vote for Trump, correct?
Right.
Can you consciously vote for Kamala?
Yes. Because
and
she's
why?
qualified.
Why?
Because she's qualified. She could do the job. She's proven more than once. Before she was a vice president, she's proven that she's a proven leader.
But how? Because when she ran for president, she was one of the first ones that dropped out because nobody supported her. Back in 2016, when she ran for president, she was the first one to drop out.
She got a chance to do the job. She got a chance to do the job.
Just a couple months ago, before Biden dropped out, MSNBC, CNN, all these Democratic media outlets were calling for Joe Biden to drop Kamala because she was no good. If you don't believe that, you need to go back and look at these videos because the internet is forever. Once something is on there, it's forever. So you can't go back on that, right?
That is true.
These outlets were calling for Biden to dump her and to get another candidate. Now, if she's so great, if she's so ready to be our president, then why would you have your own party saying things like that?
I'm not a Democrat. First of all, I'm an independent. I vote for who can do the damn job. I voted Republican and Democrat, both, and independent. So
I'm just trying to give you.
I'm just saying, if you got to throw up two people who are qualified to do the job, I'm sorry, Kamala's qualified.
Okay, now on the other side of that, go ahead, Mark. I'm sorry.
I was going to say why. Oh, go ahead, Mark. Go ahead.
She may be qualified to do the job.
Oh, Vince, I'm sorry.
But are her policies what the country needs? I think that's more what you're to decide upon.
And that's another question.
Whether she's qualified. Yeah, she can do the job. Okay. I mean, yeah, before Biden dropped out, she was known as Princess Giggles. But she can do the job.
Come on now, come on.
You know,
Giggles ain't got nothing to do with the
before
job.
Biden dropped out, she was known for giggles and word salad.
It ain't got nothing to do with the job.
You're right. You're right. It doesn't have anything to do with the job. Can she do the job? Yes. But do you want her to do it the way she says she was going to do it? Do you want her to get rid of ICE, for example?
That's not true.
It is true. She said it herself.
She's not going to get. She can't.
Do you? She can sure convince the Congress to do it. Do you want? Do you want the U.S. government to be involved in a gun buyback?
She can't do
mandatory.
That.
Mandatory. She said it would be mandatory.
That's some crap that came out of Trump.
You want mandatory electric vehicle production?
That's some crap that came out of Trump's mouth.
No.
She said it.
That's some.
She said it.
Pardon my expression. Crap that came out of Kamala's mouth. Okay. Do you want the government to pay for sex changes for prisoners?
That just came out too.
Excuse me, fine. If someone wants to change their sex, that's their business. Don't ask me to pay for it with my taxes.
Well, I think
they're going to do that. They tax us too much.
I think that was taken out of context.
It was taken out of context.
That was taken out of context.
She said it herself.
Everything on both sides. A lot of it's taken out of context. You know, for people to shoot their propaganda and sway you and get you to believe one thing or another. I think Juan said it earlier. The media will do that, and that's why most of the time I don't listen to what's on in the media. I go and I research myself, and I make sure I get the facts, because this happens every election. This is the first election that this has happened. There's always mudslinging on both sides.
Right.
It would be
absolutely
different.
right. And if you research it yourself, you will find that she said every one of those things that I said she did.
I'll find out.
But Mark, you did say
right ahead,
something that's very important. You said,
look it up.
Which policies do you want to follow?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to follow policies where men are making the decisions for women's bodies?
Yeah.
Men are the ones that saying you cannot have an abortion. You cannot do this or that with your body.
I am not in favor of that, by the way.
What?
Are those the same people that mandated the vaccine?
Because
I can't take nobody serious that says my body, my choice, but then wants to mandate a vaccine. To me,
they ain't got nothing to do with
argument.
Totally different.
Well, my body, my choice, right? My body, my choice.
Talking about killing a human being, which I'm against. I'm against abortion, but you know what? I'm not against people making a decision for their own, because they got to face they got.
That's right. That's right.
I mean,
I'm concerned, it's not the government's business.
With it, but I'm shoot, Jesus Christ, God didn't even tell Adam and Eve what to do. He gave them a choice.
Well, sometimes you did, sometimes you didn't. But anyway.
But the main one got us all in trouble.
my own feeling on abortion is it's not the government's business.
Vince, you want to say something?
Right. Yeah,
it's not the business of the government. Now,
hold on, Mark.
Hold on, Mark. We want to hear from Vince real quick.
Vince, go ahead.
I'm just saying it's not a federal issue. The Supreme Court says it's a matter for the state. If that's what you're basing your decision to vote for president on, you're wasting your vote. Take it down to the state level, and that's where the decision is going to be right. The second thing
is the only leg they got.
What people don't realize is the government's been making decisions for your body for 60, 70 years. I mean, that's all the Food and Drug Administration does. It's what you can and can't put in your body. That's the government does that.
That's true.
If
they do it for a reason.
The government's got no business
like vaccinations.
I put in my body. Abolish the Food and Drug Administration.
Well, I choose what I put in my body. I don't let the FDA or anybody tell me what to put in mine. Yeah. I put good things in mine because that's how I feel about my body. It's a temple. So I put the best in my body, which is why I'm 61 years old. I don't have diabetes. I don't have heart disease. I don't have cancer. I don't take medications. That's a choice people have to make on their own.
Again, she's making a choice.
Hey, real quick, Purvis says Oasis did not sign 40 acres in a mill bill.
What is available for you to
hold on, Vince. You just don't want a racist as a president. It's offset what America could look like. Ella speaking about something that happened way in the past. Those are the free Gary. Remember the Genesis Center? What happened to the hotel that Trump owned? Byron says, let's keep it real. If Kamala Harris had 34 convictions and had been an educated sexual offender and owed over $400 million in civil judgments for business fraud, she would be dismissed as a candidate.
Without a doubt.
A lot of good comments. Appreciate you guys' comments. We're going to go over a little bit today, people. We are talking about subjects that the candidates we would like to hear the candidates discuss. We would like those issues that we are talking about talked about by the candidates, and we want to make a concerted and an intelligent decision as to who we will vote for in this upcoming election. And you guys, the election is like a couple of weeks away.
It's almost here. They've already started early voting in a lot of states.
Yes, Lord.
So you guys had mentioned something about weapons and this and that. What do y'all think about the gun control? What would you like for these candidates to do as far as gun control?
Wow.
Crickets.
Wow. Let me go ahead. I don't think they can control it. They're on the streets. They've been on the streets. Criminals have them. What are you going to control? The people who are
got
legal?
Guns registered, right? Exactly.
How in the world are you going to control guns that criminals have? And we could take that a little further because, I'm talking about guns that's on the streets. We also can talk about guns and how people are able to purchase guns and the process they have to go through. I think that's the biggest thing right here is the process that they have to go through. And Kamala is not saying people should not have guns. What she is saying is the policies and the way that they're able to buy should change so that there are not people who shouldn't have guns getting guns so easily.
So here's my opinion about that. This is my opinion about that. Stop with the talking about gun control, period, okay? Because you can control it, you can try to control it, they're going to get it anyway. If they're going to get it, they're going to have them anyway, all right? You're talking about controlling it now, but people already got them. So they're not going to tell you, okay, well, I got a gun. They're not going to turn it in for $100 all the time. Okay, come on, man. You can't control guns, all right? And if any of these candidates will say that they have a plan to have gun control, they're lying. Okay, they're lying.
Because
I refuse to listen to a government that funneled guns to the Mexican cartels during the Obama administration. Operation Fast and Furious.
They did it during Reagan's administration too.
Okay, but look at what's going on in Mexico now. The cartels are running wild.
Look what happened back then.
You think I'm gonna listen to a government?
Reagan gave amnesty to millions of illegal aliens back then.
But what I'm saying though is that I refuse to listen to a government that is giving guns away to another country, to people that are wreaking havoc across the border.
Yeah,
like I said, and this is another thing that came up. Eric Holder was the Attorney General at the time. Operation Fast and Furious. When I say something, unless I say it's an opinion, this is something that I have looked up myself. So unless I say this is my opinion, then it's my opinion. But when I'm saying certain things, it's because I've already looked it up. I already know. Operation Fast and Furious. So I'm not going to listen to a government that says, "Oh, you don't need these guns," but yet they were shipping machine guns that were killing people on the border, or killing border patrol agents. So how are you going to tell me that when you're giving guns and weapons away to Ukraine, to other people?
We're all going to agree on that one, because you know what? I sold firearms forever, okay? And I'm going to tell you something. There was a form that you had to fill out, and you had to wait 7 days. That's still even with, that was in a gun shop. Now, if the thing I think that these people, that folks is focusing on, is these gun shows, because you could go to gun show like in Tennessee, man. You go to gun show by as many as you want to. You know,
I went to a gun show before.
18, huh?
But I had that, and that's just from person to person. Because when you buy from a dealer at a gun show, you still got to fill out the paperwork. Because I had to do it myself.
I did too. I went to a gun show in Virginia.
Yeah, but it's a bunch. It's a bunch of those guys.
Wait a minute, Mo. Vince is speaking.
Okay.
I said that, this stuff about the gun show exception, I think is bogus. I went to a gun show in Virginia. I tried to buy a gun, and they asked me what state I lived in. They required the state I live in, Maryland, requires a background check. They would not give me the gun. I could pay for it. They would not give me the gun unless I passed the background check and did everything that required for Maryland law. Now, private to private, like you say, if some guy wants to sell his gun to somebody else, there's nothing you got to do about that. But in terms of the gun shows, they still have to comply with the law of the state of your residence.
Right, but again, the person-to-person sales is what's making problems. The person-to-person sales, if you have a person that's not a gun dealer that's selling his arms, he could sell his arms to anybody, you know, and it don't matter.
There's nothing you could do about that. I mean, how do you regulate that?
And that's what I'm saying. You can't control that. There's no way to control any of that. So I don't even know why people try to bring that up.
I think we would be fools to give up our guns. I know that we're one of the few countries left that own guns. But I mean, when we give up our guns, we're going to give up our protection.
Yeah,
to protect ourselves. I have 3 daughters. I'll be damned if I give up my guns, because that's what protects my home. You know, my gun is my first defense against anybody that tries to do harm to myself, my wife, or my daughters. So, I mean, they could say what they want. Now, I know they talk about assault rifles, but most gun crimes in the United States are caused by pistols. Yeah. It's a small percentage of crimes that are being done with assault rifles. I say maybe, I'm just based like 10%. Everything else is all handguns. Like I said, I'm just guessing. You know.
Meaning that.
Hey, man. So to you guys, and I like each of you guys to individually answer this, all right? To you, what is a good candidate? What do you want from a candidate for president of the United States? Let's start with you, Mark.
I want a candidate who will make life better. Okay. I want a candidate who will lower interest rates. I want a candidate who will protect us, all of us, from enemies, foreign and domestic both. I want a candidate who talks sense. I want a candidate who I feel like is on my side. Now, there's all different ways that you can say, when a candidate talks sense, when a candidate's on your side. That's up to each individual, but that's what I look for.
Okay, that's honest. Juan, what about you?
I want a candidate that wants to put our country first. I think we have more than enough globalists around the world. I want somebody to put America first again. I want to be energy independent again, like we used to be. I want somebody that's going to stand up and stand tall between the leaders of the other worlds. I want a president that's going to say, "Don't try it, don't test us," like we already had one in Trump. I know he runs his mouth a little bit too much. I agree with that. But at the same time, there was no new wars. We were safe. Our border was secure. Our interest rates were low. Our country, before COVID hit, we were doing good. The only thing that was being hurt were feelings on Twitter. I mean, basically, that was it. That's what I wanted a candidate.
Okay. Vince, what about you?
I look for a candidate with judgment, with good policies, and a candidate who with vision for the long term, not short term, but for the long term. Those are the things I look for in it.
Mo.
I agree with everything that everybody said on that row right there. But the biggest thing is, again, not being scared to say it. You know what I mean? Not being scared to say we're number one. And we're always number one. And guess what? If you don't do business like we do business, we're not going to do business with y'all, period.
Okay. Gina, what about you?
I'm really politically drained. I want someone who's going to bring unity back to this country. It's been divided for too long. We're arguing and going back and forth with loved ones, people we grew up with, and it's tiring. I think that really a lot of the reasons that a lot of people are moving away from Trump is because of the
rhetoric,
the hate that has been put out here, and that's wearing us down. To me, that he's self-motivated. He's trying to save himself. If he becomes president, he doesn't have to worry about the charges. And if he got charges against him, let him prove himself guilty or innocent, not get up under the umbrella of presidency and everything goes away. That's not how we can do it. If I go out here and commit a crime, I have to stand before a judge and face the consequences. I just want someone that's for the people. And I feel like if Kamala is voted in and she's not, we can vote her out in 4 years.
Right.
We won't be able to get rid of Trump. He's already told us that, and he's already shown us that with January 6th. We won't be able to get rid of him. He's already said that what he's going to put in place. He's already said that this will be the last time people will vote. That's not the way democracy is.
Okay, you brought up the point about him saying that. Okay, and I don't think scare tactics are the appropriate way to garner votes. All right, and like Juan said, yeah, he says a lot of things. Sometimes he just needs to shut his mouth and just show everybody as opposed to telling everybody, in my opinion. All right, Kamala needs to finish her sentences. All right, she needs to finish. She got to finish her sentences. If you say something and we ask you the question, Give us an answer. We don't want to hear about your mom again, okay? We don't want to hear about all of your people back in the day no more. We've done that. We
How she
heard
talks
you.
with her hands.
Yeah,
She tries to take away by talking with her hands like this.
we heard you the
Watch her next
first
time
time.
she says something.
We heard you the first time. And now, Juan, on the other side, Trump got that one move too. Okay, he got that one move
Yeah.
as well. But I just want somebody. I want a candidate that's going to talk to us. All right, appeal to my sense of judgment. Let me understand from your viewpoint, since you are going to be running this country, because America is the greatest country in the world. All right, and that's another thing too. With everything that's going on right now, these other countries are looking at us like, look at these fools. All right, they're arguing about the stuff that doesn't make a difference. While we get bigger, America is just worried about who's going to be the right president for us. And then there's going to be a gestation period, 4 years, all right? And then they're out, okay? Now, somebody needs to get 8 years and try to do something. But again, like I said, was talking with Gina, before, we're inheriting, everybody's inheriting what the other president didn't do, all right? So now there's going to be a building. We have to make sure that the president that we have is strong enough to survive all of the mess that's going on right now, so that they can make a change for us as Americans. It's crazy. This politics.
It's a lot.
Crazy.
It's a lot.
It is.
But people aren't looking at the fact that, and you said America is the best country out here. We're the strongest. We've always been. But people aren't looking at the fact that during all of this inflation and all of this high prices, we were the country that fared the best. We were the country that fared the best out of all of the countries that went through. And United States was not the only one who went through this. But people don't talk about that.
Well,
people don't.
That's because we don't live in those other countries.
We
live here.
Only throw out their agenda.
What'd you say, Mark?
Doesn't matter what those other countries went through. What matters is what we went through. We don't live in those other countries.
But that affected everyone, Mark. It didn't just affect the U.S. That pandemic affected everyone.
That pandemic affected everyone, yes. But we were the only ones who dumped $2 billion or almost $2 trillion into our economy that wasn't necessary to put in there.
But again, we don't know. Which is
why the inflation went up from 1.4% when Trump left office to 9.1% in July of 2022.
We do not know everything, okay? And again, I can appreciate those of you that take the time to not listen to the news all the time and go do the research yourself. You know what I mean? To find out for yourself what these candidates are about. Find out for yourself what their platforms are about, and find out what they want to give to us. What is your agenda? If Kamala Harris or Donald Trump was sitting right in front of you right now, Gina, what question would you ask?
Are you going to hold yourself accountable for the things that you've done?
What about you, Mo?
That's the question.
I don't know. I got a million questions. I think the biggest one is if you do plan on getting us back on track on this inflation. I mean, not the inflation, but the interest rates. How do you plan to do it? I mean, because just to be fair, neither candidate has said what they're going to do as far as inflation is concerned. Because that's something that cannot control. I mean, it's something that's handled by a whole nother system that we have in place. So,
the reserve and all that.
What about you, Juan?
I would ask Kamala how she feels being the runner for president, even though nobody voted for her in the primaries.
Well, I'll tell you.
I mean, am I right though? Can I get...
that's valid. That's valid. That's I guess valid as all.
Well, she came. She may have not been, but she came through with open arms.
Yeah.
That's still, when they talk about Trump being a threat to democracy, that was a threat, right? That was no democracy right there. She wasn't voted by the people. We all talk about being voted by the people.
That's the process, the one, right? When the president is, what's the process? If the president is not there to run the country, who is next in line?
When they are president, but they're running. let's keep it 100 right now. They picked her because she was on that ticket. They raised over $100 million for their campaign. If they would have switched to another candidate or went to a primary and she would have had the possibility of losing, the Democrats would have lost out on all that money. So that's why I said that would have been my question to her, because I would have been interested to hear how she would have answered that.
That's a valid and good question.
It is.
I mean,
Vince.
That is. I didn't think about that. I mean, I don't know. Vincent, I guess, could answer that question legally. You know, what kind of legal, I guess, bumps that she can run into because of that, the way that would happen.
What? Because she wasn't.
Because she was placed.
I mean, the Democratic Party is a private organization.
Did they
pick their candidate any way they want, and legally, she's their candidate.
Oh.
Really
right. I mean, no, I get that, but she wasn't voted by the people, is what I'm saying.
No, she was. It's kind of hard for her to say that Trump is a threat to democracy when she wasn't elected. In fact, the person who was elected, they kind of did a palace coup there and kicked him out and stuck her in his place. No, I mean, it's kind of tough for her to say Trump is the threat to democracy.
No lies detected on that one.
Legally, she's the candidate. There's nothing anybody can do about it.
Well, right now, you're going to find out, I guess, because the people are going to take a vote on her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll know in a little bit.
And we have the same question for Vince, though.
Yeah, the same question, though, Vince.
If I had Kamala Harris in front of me, I would ask, since your values haven't changed, why have your positions?
Ooh.
If I had Trump,
say that one more again.
I said, if your values haven't changed, how come your positions have changed? If I had Trump in front of me, I suppose I would be obligated, in fairness, to ask him a very difficult question, too. I don't know. So I really need to give that some thought and think about it. Maybe I could ask him why he switched from the Democratic Party to the Republican.
Yeah, because
he said
if he ever ran for president, he'd run as a Democrat.
A lot of people don't know that he was a Democrat.
Right. He said if he ever ran for president, that's what he'd run as, a Democrat.
So was Ronald Reagan.
I think he said it on Oprah, right? He might have said it on the Oprah show, maybe.
Ronald Reagan was a Democrat too at one time.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something to that.
Member of the Whig Party.
Mark, what about you?
Well, Vince kind of stole my question for Kamala. That was something I would ask her.
Yeah,
why all of a sudden, now that you're running for president, have your positions changed? Do you really believe in the change, or are they only changing until Election Day? And then once you get to be president, if you win, are they going to change back to where they were before? Because that's what it seems like to me. Yeah, but I want to answer that question. What would I ask Donald Trump? Well, I'll tell you, I've been involved in political campaigns now for 64 years. Since 1960, first time I was involved in one. And the thing I would ask Donald Trump is, please, Donald, STFU. You all know what STFU stands for.
Yeah.
Okay? You all know what that stands for. Shut up, Donald.
We can say it on the air if you like.
Well, I'm not going to say it, but shut up, Donald. Say something and be quiet. Quit running your mouth.
If he just take the advice, if he took the advice of his people, he'd be in a whole lot better shape.
I think people would have a little bit more respect for him if he could contain himself. You can't run a country off your emotions. He runs the country off his emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No,
really, to go back to both Vince and Mark, they both have changed their outlook on some of these policies. They both have flip-flopped on some things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Kamala's done it very publicly in a very short period of time.
You're calling it flip-flop, but I'm thinking, this is just me, I'm thinking, well, look, maybe they're taking a concerted look at really what America wants, both sides, and are trying to adjust. I don't call it flip-flop. They're trying to adjust their platforms, their strategies, and I'll call it a strategy because that's what it is.
Isn't that politics? I mean, isn't that politics?
That's politics.
That's politics.
But that's it. And you know, all we can do is do, you know, and let's go back to Purvis's comment. You know, we go out, we go and vote, okay, and whomever is elected, I mean, it is what it is. Let's just make the best of it. You know, I
Let's be
mean,
the United States again, shit. You know.
well, I
But you
mean,
can't ignore the fact that one of them have a lot to lose if they don't win the presidency.
Yeah.
so you
Like, we're getting
start,
shot at.
you start and stuff now.
No, actually, Gina's right. One of them does have a lot to lose if she doesn't win the presidency. Because then what is she going to do? She's going to go back to California and run for governor?
He said it's Kamala.
Because if you stop and think about it, Newsom can't run again next time.
Clean.
If she loses, she can go right back to California and run for governor.
Adam Chrome bracelet.
Clean.
That's right.
Hey, there's something I wanted to bring up that isn't getting a lot of shine in the media.
Go ahead.
If you remember back when Trump was president, he pulled us out of the WHO because I mean they kind of led the way with the COVID response and all that. Right now, this administration is signed us back into the WHO, but they're in the process of handing over our sovereignty to the WHO, meaning that the general, I want to say, I don't want to get his name right. The person that's in charge of the WHO, I think it's the secretary, he would have the power over every American citizen in this country based on his opinion on certain pandemics or climate disaster. Meaning,
He's always had that problem.
No. Trump pulled us out of that, and the Biden administration signed us back onto it. So
But,
Trump has promised to bring us back out. See, my thing is that we shouldn't give our sovereignty away to an unelected person. We are in the process of electing a president, whether it's Trump or Kamala. But this administration right now has already signed over our sovereignty, giving the power to the. I don't know if it's WHO or the UN. It's one of them, because there are congressmen that are fighting this right now as we speak. And the only reason I know this is because I saw a press conference that they gave. Nobody's talking about this, but this is serious business. We do not want to give our sovereignty away to an independent body that we didn't elect, can just do anything with the swipe of a pen. I feel like Democrat, Republicans, we need to get involved. We need to start paying attention to this issue.
There's a lot of issues like that, Juan, though. Not just that, but there's a lot of issues that that's going under the radar, that deals are being made, that hands are being shook, that we don't even know about. And it's not just with Democrats, it's with Democrats and Republicans.
Well, that's what I just said. I said we need to both pay attention to this issue that's going on, because if the WHO said, you know what, every country that signed on to us, they need to take this shot, this vaccine. If our sovereignty is signed away, then guess what? We all got to do it. That's where I'm getting at right now.
Yeah.
But Juan, let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
You went to public school.
Yes, sir. I went to East Chicago Central.
That's right. You went to public school, and when it was time to get your shots, damn it, you stood in line just like everybody else and got them. You know, that was
when
part
I was a child, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That was part of keeping our public safe. I mean, I really don't know what the deniers of vaccinations is, and we've been doing it all our lives. You know, and we still have, especially with the COVID stuff, you got people that don't want to take it. I mean, you got one person right there, Arthur, Miss Gina Gasson. She said, "Oh hell no."
Yes,
I didn't take it.
I don't take those shots.
I spoke out against it.
Right. I mean,
don't take
that's your right. But see, that's your right, dude. You can do that.
But they're trying to give away that right, is what I'm saying.
They can't. That's something they're not going to be able to do because it's a free country. It's in our constitution to do what we're going to do.
I'm telling you that's why I brought up this issue, because I want everybody here and whoever's watching to just look up to what I'm talking about. That's all I'm saying.
I will.
I just wanted to bring it to light.
I agree, because you like to do your due diligence on candidates and stuff, but it doesn't end at the presidency. We have to do this from the government, the Congress, all the seats that are available. You have to pick the right candidate to do the job, so we can get what we need to do done as a country. So we all have a consensus in one direction. Right now, we don't have that.
Well, like I said, that I just wanted to bring this up because I didn't see it in any mainstream. I just saw a press conference on X, which is old Twitter, but nobody's talking
Well,
about it. And
we
I feel
have an
like this is
attorney
something
right
important.
here on the panel. He can tell us if that's legal or if that is something that can be done legally. Right, Vince?
Well, you're really getting at my
Going to the
wheelhouse
Constitution.
there when you're talking about international treaties and things. It gets a little vague as to what they can and can't do. My just two comments that I make. One about vaccines. I think we know a lot more about vaccines now than we did when I lined up to get my polio shot when it was brand new. You know, everybody was afraid of polio. You lined up, and just like in your elementary school, pop, pop, pop. Everybody got it, and nobody said squawk about it. I don't get the flu shot because 3 years in a row, when I got the flu shot,
Got the flu.
in 24 hours, I got the flu. I don't get the
That's
flu
because they're giving it to you.
Yeah, I don't do it either, Vince.
There's something weird about that flu shot. It's sneaky. You don't get along. We're not compatible. I don't do that. And it should be an individual person that does that. But I want to make a comment about the World Health Organization. And it's been bugging me for a long, long time. I think one of the true villains of this COVID epidemic that we had, pandemic that we had, was the World Health Organization. I mean, I don't think for a minute.
There goes that thumb.
I don't think for a minute that China intentionally let the virus out of the lab. I mean, it would be silly. You don't deploy a biological weapon against your own people. But I think it accidentally got out of there, either accidentally or a rogue employee got it out. Okay, where the Chinese government and the World Health Organization was in their corner and got behind them when they said this. Where I fault the Chinese Communist government is they said the virus was not communicable person to person. They knew that was
a lie. Yeah.
They came out and said that.
And the World Health Organization, and I can't remember the guy's name either. I think he's an Ethiopian guy or something. I can't remember, but he stood behind him and he said, "Yeah, it's a." And the world believed him. Instead of containing the virus to China, it spread worldwide and 50 million people are dead. So that's what I think of the World Health Organization. If we're out of it, I'm all for staying out of it. Period. For any reason, I don't trust them. I think
there's a lot to be said about this election coming up and who we should vote for. Trump is this, Kamala's that. All right, but at the end of the day, man, we encourage everybody to go out there and vote. All right, your voice needs to be heard. Mark, Juan, Vince, appreciate you guys for coming on and hanging out with us, man, and giving us your opinions, man. I mean, they really, it was a great discussion, all right? I want to give you guys an opportunity to say, have a final word, all right? Mark, is there anything you want to say to end this?
Well, I want to say, thank you for inviting me to the panel. Very much appreciate it. Very much appreciate all of y'all's opinions and everything, even if I didn't agree with all of them, which I didn't. But it's good to be able to sit down and have a civil discussion about who we think will be the next president of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do want to say, I do want to echo Greg's comment. Everybody go vote. Everybody go vote. Yeah.
I don't get the white thumb, but I get these thumbs.
You got to do it sideways.
It won't work for me.
You can be like a Republican and vote early, or vote in vote in person, or vote by mail, or you can be like a Democrat and vote early and vote often.
Oh. Dang, Mark.
Okay, Mark. Okay.
Dang, Mark.
Appreciate that, Mark.
That's hardcore right there, boy.
Juan, go ahead, man.
I just want to say thank you for having me again. Like I said, I had fun last time. Had a great time again this time. I would like to do it again if possible. I feel like there's a lot of information that needs to be given out. I feel like there's a lot of misinformation out there, and that's why I say don't trust the mainstream media. Um, just go do research. Like I said, independent journalists, they are out there that they don't go one way or the other. Um, like I said, I mentioned a guy named Ben Swan before. There was a lady that I really liked. Her name is Dr. Carol Swain. That's another lady that I like to listen to.
She's here in
Um,
Tennessee.
yeah, so that's another lady that I like to listen to. Her videos, her story. Just do your research because
Right.
there's too much going on. Um, you could look and see. We've already had a taste of Trump 4 years ago. Everything was good until COVID hit. In my opinion, like I said, my opinion. We've already had 4 years of Biden, Kamala. I mean, anybody that really thinks that Biden ran this country is kind of crazy because that dude barely knew where he was at most of the time. So, again, thank you. Um, I appreciate everybody's opinions. I always said, if I said it's my opinion, it's my opinion. But if I brought things up, that's because I have researched it. And to be fair, I brought a book today because I was ready to do some talks. Because I enjoy. I feel like we need to,
Good
whether
debate.
Democrat or Republican or independent, we need to be able to talk with one another without getting offended, without getting
Exactly.
getting your feelings hurt. It's just a talk. And if we can't talk amongst one another, then what good are we? You know what I mean? We need to go back
Facts.
to loving one another, talking to one another, because I feel like we lost that. I feel like technology has got us in the way. We don't communicate like we used to before the internet. But I mean,
Right.
we're talking right now through the internet, but you guys know what I'm saying. But like
Yeah.
again, thank
Yeah.
Yeah.
you. I appreciate you guys.
Facts, man. Facts.
Appreciate
Vince.
that.
4 things I'd like to say. Number one, again, I appreciate you having me on. It was a lot of fun. Secondly, I think we had a much more civil and therefore informative debate than any of the candidates had. Number three, because of that, this should only be a beginning for everybody. The people who are listening, you've got our ideas. Go out and to Juan Carlos's point, yeah, look it up yourself. Don't go by what some guy on television is saying you this or that and that. We've got the internet. The internet is the greatest invention since the printing press. Go on there and look for yourself. Get your own ideas. Get your own facts. Last thing I would say is you'll go out and vote. Thanks again.
Appreciate you, Mo.
Man, he said a mouthful, and just like Juan said earlier, look, you could go out there, do your due diligence. He bought a book. He did the study and everything. He got the thumbs up popping up there and everything. So I mean, you really have to do your due diligence on your candidates and make absolutely positively sure that you're getting 100. And that can be kind of hard in this. And like Vince just said, hey, we sit down and had a conversation. We agree to disagree, which is fine. That's part of democracy. We agree to disagree until some light is shining and twist you the other way, or vice versa. You get twisted the other way. I mean, and that's what due diligence it comes in. Where you go and go out there and do your research, and I might find out, hey, Juan was talking some real stuff. But and I might say, hey, Mark was saying some real stuff. That's what due diligence is, and that you need to get out there and check and check and check again. Presidential elections cool, but you need to go and look at them governors and mayors and congresswomen and senators and all them too, because they're very, 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 very powerful. You'll be surprised how much power they have in our democracy. That's all I got to say. Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys, for coming on.
Jenny.
This was a very fulfilling conversation. People should be open to listen to other people's point of views. That's what's important. Whether you agree with them or disagree with them, at least have an open mind to hear. And I think that's what happened tonight. We all are good friends. I met Mark at Distinguished Authors Guild back in Vegas. We have been friends for a long time. I met his beautiful wife, Irma. Now we have a new friend, Vince, Juan. I appreciated you all for coming on and sharing your insight. I'm open, to hear both sides of it because I want to choose who's best for my family and my home. And so hearing both sides gives me that information so that I can make an educated vote. I want to thank all of you for coming on, and I'm so glad we were able to hear Vince's side of it, because we weren't able to last time. And everybody brought some good points. You brought some good points, and you brought some good information. I say, just like everyone else said, go out and vote. Exercise your right to vote. People died for this.
Yeah.
You know, people fought for this. And I hear so many people who don't want to vote one way or the other. But it's important, you know, this is something that's going to affect you, your children, your family, your mom, your dad. A lot of people think that it's not. It is going to affect all of those people that you know that you love. So go out and vote. And if you don't have enough information from what we talked about tonight, go out, do like Juan did, do like Mark, do like Vince and myself, Greg and Mo. Go out and research. Find the right information, find facts, go out and fact check so that you can make the right decision.
You know, here's the thing for me, man. It's we can talk about this, talk about a candidate. We don't like this candidate because of this. We don't like this candidate because of that. But the thing that I love is that we all respect one another, not just the 6 people that are on here, but people in general. We respect one another, and we can, as Mo said, we can agree to disagree. And the most beautiful thing about all of this is that we have a choice. We can do and choose who we want in office, and we can not vote for the person that we don't want. But at the end of the day, as one of the comments mentioned, we did this. We voted. We made our choice. It's final. It's done. Let's support whomever comes into office. All right. We're not going to agree with them. All right. Even on the local level, we don't agree with them. But the thing is, we do have a choice. We made the choice to express ourselves, talk about this. All right. And I think there should be more dialogue, period. Even after the election, we still need to talk about it. Okay. And maybe at some point, those people that we've elected will hear our voice. And they'll say, okay, well, you know, let me do something that's going to make a difference for the people that voted for me, for the people that trust me, for the people that want me to do something for them. Man, look, Mark, Juan, Vince, I couldn't have asked for 3 more. 3 better people.
One thing before we leave, I have to get this out. Mark, tell us where we can get your book, Jane of the Trial of Jane Hanoi. I just want him to mention his book. It's a very good book.
Go ahead, Mark. Mention your book.
Did you finish it?
The Trial of Hanoi Jane.
Did you finish it, Gina?
I did.
You did. Don't tell anybody what the ending is. don't tell anybody what the ending is. All right.
I'm not.
It's not out yet. I sent Gina a manuscript, but it's not out yet. As soon as it's out, Gina, I'll let you know, and you can let everybody else know.
Then how the hell you gonna tell him? Come on, Mo. How the hell you gonna tell him to tell us where to get the book and it ain't even out yet? What the hell is this?
That's okay. You know it's coming.
That's not what I said now. As soon as it's out,
you know it's coming.
That's right. We'll let you know.
You see how they did me wrong?
Also.
Yeah, I see it.
The hell, man. Now they're gonna get the cuss Greg out now, man. Come on now.
Well, like I said, Gina, don't tell anybody what the ending is.
Man,
I won't tell anyone. I promise.
Don't tell anybody
I'm gonna make her send me the manuscript. I'm gonna put my name on it. I'm gonna sell it. All right? It'll be out tomorrow. Hey man, no, I appreciate you guys for coming through, man, and hanging out, man. You guys genuinely care about your country and what direction it's going in, and I appreciate you guys, man. Thank you guys for coming on out with us.
All right, thank you.
Great convo,
hey, man, this is Dope Living TV Live, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, peace.